All right, so this is the perfect opportunity to do this. I mean, I've known Coach Byrne for a long time, and so he's not only a good friend, I've played a little bit with him, and then I've seen him. We've coached, not only at Bethel, different places, and even at Notre Dame at camp over so many years. So I've learned a lot from him, and even through this journey of doing an Ironman, it's been incredibly inspiring to see the commitment, the dedication. The first time I get a chance to hear more of the inside, and I wasn't there for a lot of the events and the races, but so excited to hear from him, and please give him all your attention, and how can we be better by it, and what a privilege, so as many as we have other coaches that they're doing amazing things, and this is it's a great opportunity for us to take some gold and really be better by it. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I've shared some of my journeys with some of you, so it's nice to share the rest of it. Because I don't think there's a lot of people that know the whole story of what it took to do the whole journey of becoming an Ironman. So yeah, when Tiago asked me to talk about my journey, I was excited to share this with you. So thank you guys. I'll start off with both my parents died when I was in my early 40s. It was tough for me when that happened because I was thinking I was pretty young when my parents left, and it really made a wall between me and God at that time. I remember as a kid, for some reason, I always had this deep sense that my parents would leave when I was young, and I would pray to God saying, please don't let my parents die. I want them to live forever. And I was young. I'm like, what kid ever thinks of your parents dying like that? But I remember praying for that, and when they left, I was really bitter at that time when I was, early 40s. I'm like, I have friends that their parents are like in their 90s, they're both alive, and I'm like resentful a little bit of when that happened. And around that same age, I was getting done playing soccer in goal. I lived, my whole life engulfed in playing soccer and playing in the goal. So it was around 40 when I stopped playing. So yeah, I did play when I was 40. I was up to 40 when I played. And then when I left that, I needed something else to fill that void at that time. And I'm looking around like, I don't know what that is, but I was open. Like, what can I do? Well, at that time, my wife said, why don't you do a 5K? Like, run? I'm a goalkeeper? What do you mean run? It's like, let's just do it. And at that time, the Sunburst, you would run downtown South Bend, and you would end in the stadium, in the Notre Dame Stadium. So I did my first 5K. Like, this is awesome. All the people that were there, the energy of everybody being around, like, this is so cool. What's next? Let's do a 10. So I'm going to do a 10K, and my wife's like, okay, I'm not. I'm done. So that's okay, it's fair. But I do a 10K. And I did a 10K with my nephew, and we ended up finishing again on Notre Dame 50-yard line. And when I finished, this person right next to me got a medal. And I was like, why did he get a medal and I didn't get a medal? Now, well, you have to do a half marathon to get that medal. Okay, I'm doing a half marathon. So I do a half marathon, I get the medal, and I'm like, that's awesome. What's next? Well, the next thing is a full marathon. Again, goalkeeper. That's not, all right, I'll do it. So I do a full marathon, again, ends up in Notre Dame Stadium. And I did that for a couple of years. My mentality, though, with the running was the same that I did in soccer. I was like uber competitive. Every time I went out to run, I was like, I want to be better than the last time. Which doesn't make a lot of sense because there's a lot of times when you're running, a marathon is really hot. And that's what was really killing me. So the last couple of marathons I did was like 90 degrees, and they're like, don't go for your personal best. Just finish because it's in the 90s. No. I'm uber competitive, I can do it. So that really burned me out on doing marathons. I finished those and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be done with doing this because all I'm doing is running. So I'm thinking again, what's going to be next? So my wife's like, well, she started joining the CrossFit gym. I'm like, okay, let's do that. Until I figure out what I want to do, I'm going to join this CrossFit gym. So we started doing that for a while, and somebody at the gym came up to her and said, I'm interested in doing a half Ironman. She said, would you do it with me? My wife, and she's like, absolutely not. But I've heard of it. I'm like, what? What is this? What is a half Ironman? What does this all do? She goes, well, it's a swim, bike, run, and they're starting a new 70.3 half Ironman in Costa Rica. So, well, that sounds pretty cool. But here's the caveat: you can't wait to sign up because these go really quick. So there's not a lot of time to think about it, which in hindsight was perfect, because if I would have thought about it, I probably would have done it. So that night I went home and I signed up for it. I put my credit card down, signed up, and then I was like, oh, okay, what do I do? What do I need to do? Okay, I have to swim. I don't really know how to swim. I need a bike. Last time I was on a bike, I was a teenager, if that. Run. Well, I could run. I mean, I just did marathons, right? I could run. So we signed up, we started to train for it, and what is a 70.3? 1.2 mile swim, 56 on the bike, 13.1 half marathon on the run, which is 70.3 miles full. Okay. That's what it is. Oh, yeah, play this again. That's like one of my first sessions of me trying to swim, and as you can see, I'm not going that fast. So, well, I found out right away, the first day that I did a 25 yards in the pool, I'm like, I was gassed. I'm like, this is 1.2 miles, I can barely swim the length of the pool. I'm not too proud, I need help. So I got a coach. And luckily with the coach, I was able to feel like I could swim. I could do breaststroke, I could do some, freestyle, and I felt like, okay, I'm gonna be okay at this point. But this is big. If the goal does not scare you, it's not big enough. I'm a true believer in that. As I'm standing on the beach in Costa Rica, and I'm looking at the buoys, and it's a buoy, 100 yards, buoy, 100 yards, buoy. I mean, I can barely see the end before it comes back. And at that point, I'm like, what did I do? I mean, I really started thinking like, I've never done this before. So you want to talk about nervous? I normally don't get nervous. I mean, you guys seen me before games. Like, I don't really get nervous. This got me nervous, which meant it was scary, which meant it meant something, which meant I picked the right thing to do. If I just walked up and I'm like, I could just do this and not be scared, the goal's not big enough, right? I need something that scares me to think, is it possible? I need that question to make me feel alive. The bike, the swim, the run went perfect. It was a perfect day that day. So then you're thinking, for me anyways, 70.3 was awesome. And we went down with a couple of friends that have done 70.3s before. They helped me along the journey on what to do. So it wasn't a big learning curve because I was asking a ton of questions to them on how to train for this. After I did it, I was like, okay, what's next? I've done 70.3, what's next? Well, obviously the next thing is a full marathon. That's a big thing to ask. And I started talking to them, and their eyes got really big because a lot of them haven't done a full one before, and they knew how much it was to train for it. They're like, I don't know about that. I'm like, well, I tell you what, it's my birthday when I decided to do this, to train for one. Like, it's 112 miles on the bike. I'm going to go out and just try and do 112 miles. No run, no swim. I'm just going to go out and do 112 miles, see what my body feels like. I am 60 miles in on the bike. Bam! I get hit by a car. Head on. A lot of the fear is when you're on the bike on the roads is you're going to get hit from behind because you're riding with traffic. You can't see them, so you're thinking, are they going to see me and pull over? I saw this clear as day. She came around the corner, and I'm stopped. I'm at a stop sign. She came around the corner, and I'm looking straight into her eyes, and she's doing this. And I'm like, Next thing I know, I'm on my back, and I have people over me saying, are you okay? Luckily, I was okay. Nothing was broken, had a concussion, bike gone. My beautiful bike. I only had it a couple of months. And I was more concerned about that bike than myself. So then I had a choice. I had a decision. Like, is this a sign that says you're done? Which, walk away. You almost got hurt, right? Anybody's going to be okay with it. You just walking away. It's not my sport. Or you double down on it. It didn't take me long to say, okay, I'm in. I'm fine. I'm going to do this. Because that's my why. Right? That's my why. when it gets hard, for me, I need a why to deep into, right? So my why is, I'm not going to let that define me. That was perfect. That's probably what I needed. I needed a why to go forward. And in the meantime, I got a new bike. I tell you what, that bike, I don't deserve that bike. Usually when I'm on that bike and I am moving, the bike is screaming more, and I'm like, that's all I got. That bike is so fast, it's sick. I get so many, eyes on that. It's like, yeah, but it's just me on top of it, so that's okay. So what's a full Ironman? There's a full Ironman. 2.4 miles swim, 112 on the bike, full marathon at the end, 140.6 total. Now here's the big carrot at the end. You have 17 hours, and that's it. If you finish in 17 and 1 minute, you're not an Ironman. You're not an Ironman. So it starts when you enter the water at that point. Okay? So it's a lot to think about. They'll have cutoffs sometimes on the bike. Like if you don't get to the bike in a certain time, you don't get in the run on a certain time, they're pulling you off. The big one though is 17 hours. That's all you have. You're out there all day. Usually you go out around, as soon as the light comes up around 6:30, you're gone. And you'll end around midnight. Right? So it's a day. But you have to train for that. You can't just off the couch and train. Which to me was appealing. Because not anybody wants to train. Not anybody can do that. Which I'm like, okay. They say that in a marathon, people that can do a marathon, you're a little over 1% of the population that can do that. You can train to do a full Ironman, it's under 1%. Like, that's pretty cool to me. So in 2018, I decided to do my first Ironman here at the end. And notice, I did this at the end of the year, and I didn't just jump into it in 2018. I didn't just train to do my first Ironman. I wanted to do 3 7.3s to build up to it. Okay, I wanted to build up my athleticism. I really wanted to concentrate on the transitions, which not a lot of people think about. So coming out of the water to the bike, there's a transition. You go into the transition tent and you change your clothing. And the same thing when you get off the bike, get to the run, you take the helmet off, put it in bags, and you do the transition. All that counts. Right? It's not like you get into the transition and stop the clock. You have 17 hours from when you start to when you finish. Transitions count. So if you're in there for 20 minutes, that's coming off the end. If you're in there for 5, great, and you have more time on the rest of it. So I used those 3 to do the full. When I was standing on the pier, getting ready to go in, they said, the swim has been shortened. The night before, there was this huge rain that came in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was what happens is you jump in the water, you swim upstream, you go around this island, and then it's all downstream from there. Well, on the end is a dam, and there was so much water that came in, they opened the dam, and all this water started rushing down. Even the pros that jumped in couldn't swim upstream. It was just too much current. So what they ended up having us do is we jumped in and we floated downstream. So in my mind, I'm standing there, I did all this work for 140.6 miles. This is 140 miles. I'm like, they're going to call me an Ironman at the end, but I know I'm not an Ironman. It's not the full course. So before I even do my first one, I'm like, guess what? I have to sign up for another one. I was so upset. I'm like, okay, I'll do this, but I'm signing up for the next one as soon as I'm done. So I finished 140, hashtag not 0.6. It was pretty cool at the end because this is the 4th Street, which it's dome on the street, so all the rain and everything, it was raining that day. You couldn't feel it. Big party atmosphere at the end. They got the boom boxes going. It's a big party. Everyone's partying at bars, restaurants, everything else. So it was pretty cool for my first one. My wife was at the very end. She got to medal me. My first medal of Ironman. She's there to medal me. Got a picture of everything. It was like perfect day. It was 140.6. So the next year I signed up for Mont Tremblant, Quebec, which I thought was pretty cool because now I'm traveling. I'm traveling up far, I'm going north. I don't know if I can play this. I felt like I did it. I did it. And if you heard, Mike Riley was the one at the end that was singing, "You are an Ironman." In triathlon, that's big because he's the voice of Ironman. So, and then he's the one that coined the phrase, "You are an Ironman." So to be having what I thought was my first real Ironman, have him call me across the finish line, I'm done. I am done. That's it. I'm good. I'm going to continue to do Ironman, but that's the best one I've ever done because that was my first one. But I still wanted. I was still involved in it. I was still engrossed in it. So I still want to continue. So that was 2019. I signed up for some more in 2020. But what happened? COVID. COVID hit. And the thing about COVID was I had these races lined up to do more, but I would train, 3 months, and then I'd get right next to right when I'm going to head out, and they'd cancel it. I'd go, okay. And then I'd train a couple more months for the next one, and they'd cancel it. So I'm doing all of these massive trainings, and right before I go, disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. For about a year and a half, they kept canceling these Ironmans. Yep. And at the same time, they decided to change how you qualify for the World Championship. Now, the World Championship in Kona is held in Kona, Hawaii. I knew about it. I watched it as a kid. They had, every October, they'd have the Kona, Hawaii Ironman World Championship on NBC. And I'd watch it as a kid. I'm like, that's pretty cool. They're nuts. They're crazy, but that's pretty cool. Never did I think that I could qualify for it. So how do you qualify? When COVID hit, they came out with the regulations on, they were changing, which got me interested in you're changing, but what is it? To qualify for Kona, you have to be an outright winner. That's awesome. That's not going to happen. I'm not that fast. I'm fast, but not that fast. Or you can run your age group. So age group is 30 to 35, 35 to 40. That's awesome again. Again, I'm not going to make that. The third and final way is they call it a legacy program. If you finish 12 full Ironmans, you get a ticket to Kona. And it's not you get a ticket and they pull your name out of the hat. It's you're locked in, and all these people above you that were locked in get to go, and then you get to go once all those people ahead of you get to go. So you're locked in after you do 12. Well, they changed that. They put an asterisk on that. You still need to get 12. However, you need to be in the sport for 12 years. So I started in 2017. So I would have to be 2030 after 12 Ironmans. And I'm like, I don't know about you. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2030. I don't know if my body could last until 2030. So reading the rules again, I'm like, when does this legacy actually take place? It ends December 31st, 2022. Like, okay, so you're saying there's a chance, there's a little bit of a chance, but there's still a chance, right? I've done 2. And I need 10 more. So I sat down and I'm like, let's hypothetically say, I tried. Well, I would need 5 races in 2021. It's already 2021. It's already is. And I need 5 more races in the next year. And that's my 10. That's my block that I need. And for me to do it, I have to do 10 races in 15 months. Like, okay. So it's doable. Now, with that being said, it's like if I did one of those races and I had a mechanical failure on the bike and I don't finish that, I'm done. Because there's physically no more spaces in Ironman races for me to do another one to finish the one that I didn't do. So every race mattered to get to Kona. If by chance there was weather that came in the night before, a tornado or whatever, which happened to be on the 7.3, and they canceled the race, guess what? It's not my fault. I'm not going to Kona. So they had to do 10 clean races with no DNS, and I have 1 chance for each race. That's what it was signed up to do. And now it's like, okay, I think I can do it, but I need permission to do this. This is beyond me. So I consulted my wife, and I asked her, listen, do you think I can do this? She goes, yeah, you can do this. I'll support you, but you have to give me everything to do it. Well, that's really all I needed. I just needed someone to say, you can do it. I'm like, okay. So I dedicated myself to do it, but then I changed my why. My first why was, all about me and not letting the wreck define me, right? This one was more of, how do I, if I do it, I want to inspire people so when things get tough, they know they can proceed. And I was really thinking of my nephews at this time and my family. We've been through a lot, so I wanted to give them some kind of a reason why to keep going. And this is perfect. I'm going to show them. It's going to be hard, but we're going to get through this together. So it started. 2021, go to Lake Placid. 2 months later, go to Wisconsin, and no joke, there's hills in Wisconsin. Don't let them lie to you. A month later, we go to Muncie, Indiana. It was perfect. It was overcast, it was raining, and I tend to overheat anyways. So it being like that, I'm like, I am flying high. The best part about it was, I had a large part of my family there. A lot of times when I do these Ironmans, they just do my life, which is awesome, right? They have that support. This time I had a bigger group. So I would be doing the swim and the bike and the run, and I would see them constantly on the course, which made me want to go faster to get back to them. So I finished that. It was my fastest Ironman for me ever. It was 12 hours and 35 minutes. So for me, it was flying. Now, everything's different when you talk about the pros. The pros, they're finishing these in under 8 hours. Aliens. Just complete aliens. For me, 12:35, for me, I was more than thrilled with that. I was good. So then after Muncie, we go to Waco, Texas. 21 days. That's a quick turnaround. I felt good about it until I didn't. For some reason, this was the first time they ever did a full Ironman in Waco. And the local, there was at least one person that didn't like that idea. And on the bike course, this person threw tacks out. And I didn't know it until I ran over it with my tire. So I'm on the side of the road. I'm on the side of the road with a flat tire, and I'm trying to fix this flat tire, and all of a sudden my legs are just burning. And I'm looking down, Texas red ants all over me. I'm like, what's going on? I'm battling that off, trying to get the tire on. We do, probably longer than I should have, and I start going. It was a really windy day, so usually I average around 20 mile an hour on the bike. This was like 16. I mean, like I am just gassed at the end. And it was hot on the run. And again, this is another one where I do a lot of research for these events, so I try not to have anything like really be surprised on me. They said, this was the first time they did an Ironman here, there wasn't a lot of information on the course. I got to the run and they said, mostly rollers. They lied. It was 3 loops of this, and it wasn't like jog hills, it was walk hills. So, devastated beyond belief. I must not have looked that great because at the end, they didn't even ask me. Here comes the wheelchair, they sit me down, and I'm going right into the med tent. I'm leaving my wife like, what? I didn't have the energy to tell them no, so I went right into the med tent. They took care of me, and luckily, I got out of there. But that was definitely not on my bucket list, was to get to the med tent. But that one was done. 14 days later, which is even smaller, we have Florida. Luckily, that one was okay. That one went fine. And that's my first year. That's 5 years. That's 5 in a very short period of time. Got it all done. Okay. 2022 starts, and I'm feeling good because I got 5 more. I've already done 5 in a short period of time. These 5 are more spread out through the year. So I'm like, hey, I know how to do this now. I am good. What do they say about the wheels on the bus? My wheels fell off in 2022. St. George. This is St. George. So they give you the elevation before you go on the bike and on the run. And I'm looking at the elevation on here, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Because you're doing over 7,000 feet total gain on the bike. And then at mile 100, you gotta do that, where you have no legs. And they made it tougher that year because the year before, they didn't do Kona. They canceled it, right? So what they did for the first time ever, they held the World Championship here in St. George, which is great. I already signed up for it. I didn't sign up for the World Championship. But I get to go. It's not Kona. But it's cool. All the pros of the pros are going to be there. That's awesome. But they said, it's not hard enough if the pros are low. So we're going to change it. And that's what they came up with. Like, bang. That's what we do. So I moved all day, but I must have been moving slow because, again, you have 17 hours to finish. Whereas 16 hours and 34 minutes to finish. Again, I didn't feel like I stopped or anything. I was moving the whole time. But that's by far the longest it has ever taken me to do an Ironman. I mean, like, looking at my watch the whole time, am I going to make the cutoffs? Am I going to make the cutoffs? I'm just making them, just making them, just making them. For the very end, I finally finished. The cool thing is, I would go back normally after my Ironmans, and I would watch the final finishers. And those, I tell you about inspiration, like, how are you out there for 17 hours? That's unbelievable. I don't know how you did it. I know how to do it. I did it. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But the cool thing is, in Ironman World Championship, if you're one of the last ones, the winner of the race comes and gives you a medal. So normally it's somebody else that gives you a medal, but that's the winner. That's Christian Blumenfeld, a Norwegian, who was in the sport. He's phenomenal. He's a stud. So the finish, I felt like, oh my gosh, I finally finished. And they pulled me over and they put me right in front of him, and I'm like, I mean, it's like, I mean, you might not know this, but you're out there with the pros. Like, the pros go out first, and then you go out there. Like, there's no other sport that's like that. It's not like when you're playing soccer, it's not like Messi's out there with you. And then at the end, Messi comes and gives you a shirt. That's what it felt like. It's like, for me, that's pretty cool. I was geeking out about that. So I got the medal, and I walked off, and I was like, okay, you know, give me that at that point. Like, it was a long day. But I got that under my belt, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I got 4 more, right? I'm good. I know what to do. Des Moines, Iowa. I think I left my soul in Des Moines, Iowa. The swim went fine. It was downstream. The bike went fine. The run was going fine. And I got to mile 13, which is, I'm at the halfway point of the run. And all of a sudden, I black out. I mean, it was hot. But I'm like, it's not, for me, not that hot. But I black out, and I remember coming to my hands on my knees, and like, I'm looking, my head is spinning, I'm ready to go down, and the other runners are like, don't go down, don't go down. And 100 yards, there's an aid station. And I look up, and there is an aid station. I don't know how I got there, but I ended up getting there. And this person grabbed me. This was the only aid station on the run that had shade. She grabbed me. She goes, are you okay? And I go, I don't know. And she sat me down. And she got me water, and she got me nutrition, and she got me some gels. And to this day, I think she was my angel, because if she wouldn't have grabbed me at that time, if I would have fell down, the med people would have came by and pulled me off the course. The dream's over at that point. I'm off the course, you're not coming back on. So she grabbed me at the right time, sat me down, and got me going in about 10 minutes, and I was able to finish. Now, luckily, she was there at the end. She goes, I'm going to be there at the end. You better be there. So when I left, I'm like, I'm doing this for her. I'm doing this for her. And she was there at the end. Her name is Liz Bryant. She works at Diamond, one of the bike manufacturers. Nicest lady ever, and she's my angel. So I ended up finding her later, and I stalked her a little bit on Facebook, sent her some stuff, and gave her flowers and everything, and really thanked her, because without her, the dream was over at that point. So what I learned was, yeah, you're out there by yourself, but there's people out there that are going to help you, right? If you need help, angels are everywhere. Okay. 2 months later, I'm in Maryland. Again, everything is fine. I get to the run, and all of a sudden, well, this is kind of weird. My ankle starts to feel something. Okay. It kind of got me to a run walk. Maryland is fun because it's flat. The only thing you really have to battle is in the water is jellyfish. There's a lot of jellyfish. So there's a lot of jellyfish sting. But once you pop out, you're fine. It's one of those where it's not going to stop you, but it's going to be like, and you keep swimming, and you keep swimming. It's fine. Yeah. The bike is completely flat, the run is completely flat, but I couldn't really run. It was like a run, walk, run, walk. And so when I got done, I was like, okay, I need to go get this checked out because I have what? I have one left, right? Yeah. I have one left. I have 20 Achilles. I have 20 Achilles. I have one race left, and I have 20 Achilles. What was happening was I had bone spurs on the end of my ankle. And when I would run, the Achilles would go over that, and it would have these cuts in it. Well, the only way to stop that is to stop running and not run again. That's not. Or you can have surgery. Okay. But I have one left. I have one left. So I consulted the doctor, obviously. And so what's the worst that can happen? Well, it could snap. Okay, but I have one left. So the 2 months prior to Florida, I didn't run. I swam, I biked, I did everything else, but I didn't run. Because I wanted it to heal as much as I possibly could. So if it snapped, it was going to snap on the run in Florida. And if you've ever been around someone that it snapped, you hear it. It's not like it's like, bam, you hear it. And so in Florida, I'm running, waiting to hear and feel the snap. That never came, luckily. I was able to finish it, and then I locked in. I got to the 12 in. I'm locked in. And the ticket was for 2024. And this is 2022, right? So to keep it, I still have to do a race in 2023 and a race at the beginning of 2024. So it's not done, but I've locked it in at that point. I felt really good. So what do I need to do next? Well, obviously I got to fix that Achilles. So they scheduled, I wanted it as soon as possible because I wanted to start training for the next one, right? And so when they scheduled the date, I had no control over it. It was a month later. Like, well, I really wanted it sooner, but it's a month later. When is it? Tuesday, December the 6th. Really? Tuesday, December the 6th. Well, what's the day before that? And this is a month later, a month earlier. Huh. The day before that is the NAIA National Championship in Alabama. And I'm like, you know what? I guess we're going to go win the championship. It just works out that way. I'm thinking a month later, I'm not going to tell anybody, but I'm like, this is a sign that we're going to win because the day later, I have a champion. I have to go back up. So guess what? Alabama, we win. We win on the 5th, on Monday. I jump in my car that day, that night. I drive all the way back from Alabama up to Indiana. I get a couple hours of sleep, and I have my surgery. That was a special day. That was a very special day. They made it all worthwhile to drive back up. I didn't care. I was on fume. I was just livid all the way up. And I was down cloud 9 that we won that day. So it didn't matter if I got any sleep at all. I know I was going to sleep during the surgery. They were knocking me out. But that was a special day. So then after that, what's next? I have rehab, and then I have to train for my next one. From December the 22nd, when I had the surgery, to September, I was training to get that back ready to go. Because I still need to get one in. And I didn't want to do it at the beginning of the year, because I didn't have time. So I waited until the end, which is September. And luckily it went off, because if I wouldn't have, I didn't have a lot of time to do another one, right, because it's the end of the year. So this was Chattanooga. It was a good, beautiful day. Nothing to really report on that, other than, again, the hills. So much. It was like this. But we survived. So then it's Texas, the next year, 2024. It's spring, harder to train for because you're doing everything inside. Yeah, that's me, Grandpa. The thing about this one was, this is my last one. It was like May. Kona's in October. Okay? This was my last big test before Kona. I get to the run, I can't run. I mean, there's not a question, I can't run. I don't know what's going on. I get back, I finish it, I finish fine, I was able to walk it in, because it didn't start at the beginning, it started towards the end. And I got back and I was like, I gotta get this figured out. Like, I got Kona, I'm gonna do it right. I mean, I'm gonna do Kona right. And they tell me I need a new hip. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I know a lot of people that have had hips, you do it that day, you go home that day, and you're fine. And as the doctor's explaining that to me, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And she knows how active I am, and the goal that I set, she goes, no, Vern, you don't understand. Once you do the hip replacement, you're not going to run. Well, I have until October, that's fine. Just go for it. Ever. You're done. You're not going to run ever again. Because once they put this in, if you run, you're going to deteriorate that. You're going to kill that that's in there. All right. Well, can I hurt it any worse? Well, I mean, no. I mean, you need a new hip, you need a new hip. So it's not like it's going to get any worse. I said, okay. I get 500 plan. Usually when I start to do an Ironman, it's like 3 months out. I really start dialing in my nutrition and my scheduling of a plan. This is going to be a 5-month plan because I want to do it right. So, I had to assemble a team. What does that mean? My doctors, my physical therapist, luckily my wife is a nurse, took that all into consideration, and it really helped me create a plan to sustain a 5-month plan. The training flow to do an Ironman, you have your base, then you build up slowly, and at the very end you taper, which is a very weird feeling because it's 1 to 2 weeks out before you do an Ironman, and you're like, okay, you're backing off on all the workload that you're doing. It feels weird because you're thinking that I need to keep going. If you keep going right up to the event, you're going to get burnt out. So you need to take some time off, which is fine, but it plays with your head. But to do this, there's no big gains here. You need to mentally and physically just build slow and build slow and build slow. So at the very top, you're ready to go. Then you taper down. So, what does my base training look like? So before I would get to a 3-month or a 5-month, this is what I would be doing when I didn't have an Ironman in mind. So, swim in the pool 1.2, bike, run, row, swim, run. And then on Saturdays I would do 56 miles on the bike, and then I would run 13.1. So that's typically for me, that would be a typical week, every week. And then I would get to my 5-month plan. Here it is. So some people have asked, like, when do you wake up? I wake up before swim, Monday through Friday, and I usually put in an hour and a half to 2 hours every morning. And then on the weekend, I get to sleep in until 5:30. Sun doesn't come up because during the week it's inside. On the weekends, I get to go outside. And then I would normally bike Saturdays. I get out around 7. No cars are out there then because I'm not a car guy anymore. So, but usually when I'm ending, it's around 11 o'clock. That's when the cars are starting to come out, kind of pull in. And then I would run typically. Now on this one, again, because of my hip, I have to take it easy, right? I had to knock down my runs at that point. So I went back to starting off elliptical. I'm not running my 13.1s every week, trying to stay there, right? I could build some kind of endurance though, because there is that 17-hour cutoff. So first week 6, 8, 10. So I'm trying to build on that. That's the first month. Second month, you have a 14, and then still 14 on the August. So I'm trying to still take it a little bit at a time. And then September. 16 miles. I run my first 16 miles. I hit 6, I'm getting close to 16, and I have to call my wife. I'm like, yeah, can you come get me? She goes, what's going on? I physically can't put my foot down. I physically can't even walk. It hurts so much. Now with the Achilles, it was different. There was pain, but I could still walk. This pain was a deep pain, which always hit around mile 16. So that's the first time where I ever contemplated, is it even possible? Can I even do it? Will my body even hold up? Because all I'm doing on Sunday is running, mind you. I'm not swimming, and I'm not biking before that. I wake up, I do my 10-minute stretch, and I go. And I can't even get 16. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a head knocker on that one. One other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to lose as much weight as I could because I wanted to get it off my head. So at the end, I ended up losing, 30 pounds. I knew I could lose some weight. I didn't know I could lose that much weight, but it was all of, it's 5 months, and in a lifetime, 5 months is nothing. But I wanted to reach my goal. I didn't even consider it a sacrifice. I mean, I thought it was just something I needed to do. Like no pop, no candy, nothing like that for 5 months. Well, yeah, I mean, that sucks. I mean, I like pop every now and then, but I wanted to make sure that if I could get to Kona, if I could stand on the beach, I could look at myself and say, did you do everything? Because even if you do everything, something could happen. Weather could happen, life could happen, hip could happen, but what can you control? There's a lot that I can control at that time. And I have 5 months to control it. Okay, what can I control? So I wrote down everything that I can control. I made the schedule. I tried to stick to the schedule. I got the training calendar, like I showed you. I have a workout clock downstairs in my gym that I put the start date of Kona. So it's a clock. I'm sitting on top of my TV that clicks every second. Bang. It's like it has like 65 days, how many hours, how many minutes, how many seconds to start. And it just click, and it would click, and it would click. And I would go down there in the morning, whether I'm working out or not, that thing is clicking down, right? The race is coming, whether I'm training for it or not. It doesn't matter. The race is coming. So it kept me honest. Honestly, I love that. I studied the race course, so I watched a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos on it. I studied the course. I did a schedule or itinerary of the week and of that day. So when I got to Kona, nothing was going to be a surprise for me. So I wanted to do as much research as I could and do as much as I can to set myself up for success. And the night before, I had this ritual, which I carried into Kona, which was the last thing I do before I go to bed. I get on my back and put my feet up for an hour, and I'll meditate. And I'll think about the day, the next day. What's it going to be like? What am I going to do when I wake up? Everything that I need to do. What do I need to do in transition? Get to the swim, transition. Get to the bike, transition, get to the run. And I go through that for a full time, an hour, and I'll go back and I'll do it again. And I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. There's going to be surprises out there. I'm just going to have to roll with it. That's fine, but I'm not going to fail because I wasn't prepared, right? I'm going to take that variable out of it. So I'm really big on visualization. So I make Tacoma. There I am. 1 week before. That was another part of my preparation that I learned from people. I had friends that would go and they'd arrive a couple of days early before the race, and they're like, Bern, that's not enough. You need to be there a week early because you need to climatize because that weather's different. And I took that into consideration. I was like, okay, I'm going to get there Saturday. The race isn't until the next Saturday. And I'm going to go and I'm going to train on the island, which luckily we were able to do. And I think that helped. I think that helped a lot. Okay. Morning of the race, 4 a.m. alarm clock. So there was a method to my madness of why are we waking up at 4:20 for 7 years? Because the race is going to, you have to wake up at 4. So it wasn't nothing new to me. My body was already awake at that time. So I go out, it's pitch black. I go put my nutrition on the bike, and in Kona, you start where you finish. So this is a leaky drive, and they put you in garage where they put you in your age group, right? So this is all filled with age groups. And I'm way in the back, because at that time, I just turned 50 a couple of days before. The goal was to get there when I was 50, and I just did it. Or did it. And so I'm way in the back. I'm one of the last groups to go out. So there's a lot of time to wait around. I'm like ready to go in the crowd like 2 hours before. So you have to get in there because they'll lock it down. And I'm sitting there, and it's a circus. There's thousands of people there. And you can just feel the anxiety of everybody. Like they want to get you started. You got 2 hours of this. And I sit down like I normally do before a race. And I meditate, and I zone, and I visualize. What do I need to do? I like to be the calm in the storm. I love that before races, because everyone's freaking out, and I'm just sitting there like, all right, this is cool. I got this. I've done Ironmans before. This is a little bit different. This is the big one. Don't know if the hip's going to hold out. But I've done everything. I'm at peace at that point. So I'm sitting down. Everything's going crazy around me. And I start visualizing the day. And then, in my mind, somebody in my mind sits down beside me. I'm like, huh? Well, I haven't talked to you in about 10 years. What are you doing here? And it was God. And I was like, okay, God. Well, I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to be so egotistical that ask you at this point to please be with me and help me get to the finish line. You know, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to say, at this point, hey, God, help me finish, when I haven't talked to him in that long, right? But what I did say was, I am open to you and I receive you. Please keep me safe. Because I don't know how this day's going to go. Just be with me. That's all I asked him. I said, just please, just be with me today. Okay. So I had a little conversation with him before the race. During the race, 2.4 miles, out, turn, and back. Beautiful water. It's crystal clear. I mean, I'm swimming. There's a lot of people around me. There's 2,500, 3,000 athletes out there. So there's a lot of athletes. But you can still see the dolphins underneath you. You can still see the turtles. Like there's nothing going on. There's chaos on top. It's really calm at the bottom. Like this is pretty cool. I'm kind of geeking out on it, right? And this is the first time I ever did that long of a swim without a wetsuit. This is the first time I did a swim where it wasn't legal because it was too hot. So I didn't know how it would go. But I was only 2 minutes off my fastest time anyways. So I thought that was, for me, again, cool, nice, wonderful swim. Then I got to the bike. The bike starts in Kona, you go in town for a little bit, and then you head out on the Queen K Highway and then you hit Howie, and then you come back. Well, all of this is a big mountain. You climb it, and then you turn around, and then you fly back. Well, at that point, I'm really tired when I turn around, and it's really windy, and I just like, okay, just hammer it, come home. So I hammered it, and I came home. At the end of the bike, for whatever reason, it started to rain. And I've watched Kona many times. I've only seen it ever rain once, ever. And it started to rain at the end, and I was like, wait, this is awesome, because again, I overheat. I mean, I get hot. And anything, if you know anything about Hawaii, it's hot. That's what makes it that hard. You have lava rocks on both sides of the road, so the heat rises on that Queen K Highway. It is hot. But towards the end, it started to rain and started cooling me off. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this is a gift. I appreciate it. I love it. So then I got to the run where there was a downpour at the beginning, and then it went away. And then when it went away, it was night. So the sun went away at that point. Again, a little bit in town, you go to Queen K, up to the airport, and then you come down. Okay, a little bit about the run. I couldn't feel my hip. I started running. I mean, obviously I couldn't feel it on the swim. I couldn't feel it on the bike, which I could a little bit before when my training, but not today. So I was like, what's going on? I got to the run, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start slow, because I know, again, at mile 16, in my training, it's going to keep ungodly pain. And I thought, I'll just gut it out from there. So I started slower than normal, and I started to build. And every mile, I started to go a little faster. And I got to mile 16, and I was like, God, what is this? I don't feel it. And at that point, you're running back in to town. And I was like, well, if you're with me, we're going to go. Let's go. And so I sprinted in from 16, the last 10 miles. Sprinted in the last 10 miles. Knowing that this was going to be the last time I ever ran was pretty emotional at the end. That I was able to run at the end. In my mind, I was like, I'm going to get to culminate. It's going to be hurt at the very, very end. I'm going to gut it out, and I'm going to finish. That's all my body has. But I want to finish. But to be able to run, I couldn't have scripted a better day. To be able to run at the end when I didn't think I could was very special. At the end, it dumps you down on the same place where we started, right? And it's pitch black. You can barely see the finish line, but it's a big white light at the end, like at the end of a tunnel, big white light. And as you get closer, you start hearing the crowd on both sides. They're going crazy. They start saying your name, Vern, come on. And they start going crazy. And you get closer, and you get closer, and they call you in. And I tell you what, that feeling was, one, unbelievable. 7 years to finally finish and to finally do it. It felt amazing, but more than that, it felt like I was coming home. So I thought it was this journey to help people and to see people that you can do hard things. And for me, it totally turned at the very end. It was like I was coming home to God. Again, that feeling was surreal, unbelievable, I can't even tell you. But it was quite a journey for me for 7 years to get to the end. Well, I had it happen. Again, I thought, 17 hours, I'm going to just get it into 17 hours. Ended up finishing 15 hours and 22 minutes, so I had a lot of buffer at the end. He was there the whole time. And I tell you, what was pretty cool about that is I started talking to him when I was sat down, and for 15 hours and 22 minutes, I talked to him the whole time. So I had a conversation with God for 15 hours and 22 minutes. When I was on the bike, I just kept talking to him. It was pretty cool. I mean, it was so surreal. It was like I had a buddy with me the whole time. Not asking him to get me to the end. I was just saying, yeah, please stay with me, because it was so warm. It was like this light. And I told you, when I turned on the bike to come back, it was really windy. And a lot of people take it, and you're going downhill. At that point, I was like, you're with me? I'm not even going to worry about it. I just went in the air position. I like, you got me. Let's go. And you can say I threw caution to the wind, but I threw caution to God, and he said, I got you. I got you, man. You're coming home with me. So, yeah, he can work miracles. He worked miracles with me that day to get it done. And